Hello, boys. Hello, girls. Finally, I'm a little bit behind, but you're watching and listening to the Glorified House show. And yeah, I'm a little late. I apologize. Things have been crazy, even more so. So if you hear like a buzz in the background, it's my phone going off because I've been putting it off. And then as soon as I want to jump on this shit, everyone wants to fucking contact me over something. So bear with me. If I sound a little distracted, it's because my goddamn phone. I'm gonna be using it to read like the stuff, but I'm gonna go over the Royal Rumble. I don't plan to give you a review as much. I mean, I'll probably do the results and whatnot, but I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of what I thought about the Rumble. Okay. And the big news of Ronda Rousey showing up to the WWE. First of all, I thought the Rumble itself was an extremely fun pay-per-view or network event. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna sit back and dog it like, oh, it should have been this, it should have been that. There's no way to have a perfect show with that kind of setting because the main event in itself is the Royal Rumble. Honestly, you could only have the Rumble. You could be a 1 hour and a half show of just, people cutting promos about if they're going to win the fucking Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble itself, and then, the aftermath. Like, you could totally do the Rumble that way. For me, I'd be completely fine with it. Being that they have a women's Royal Rumble as well, they could do the same thing. It could be 2.5 hours, just the two Royal Rumbles themselves, cutting promos, and then aftermath. You look at that undercard, for what it's fucking worth, man, the Rumble is not built to have matches, even though they've had great matches in the past. I mean, I'm not going to sit back and be like, well, I never enjoyed any of the matches. I have. But even more so now that they have a women's, there's no need for an undercard. Maybe a defense of the world championships, right? To see if somehow there's a chance that some storyline changes. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say if Jinder Mahal would have had the belt up to the Royal Rumble and would have lost it to somebody, that would have been really exciting. Like, that would have been cool as fuck because we all know that Jinder Mahal would not be world champion by the time that WrestleMania rolls around, right? So let's just say if they would have held off on AJ winning that belt from him and had him basically win it at the Royal Rumble. That would have been fun. That would have been extremely fun. So wow, you mean we talking like 4 fucking championships, right? I guess do a tumbler. See who defends their title. Like, right? See who defends their title at the Royal Rumble rather than have all 4 compete. Say, do a tumbler or, do a thing with the Universal versus the World Belt. Do a thing where someone had to do something or they do some random pick or what have you to determine who defends their belt at the Rumble. And then the other person gets a bye, until, say, the Elimination Chamber. Both women and men, right? That would have been fine. But if you look at this undercard, and I'm not even going to mention the pre-show because fuck the pre-show. You had AJ Styles defeating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, right? In a handicap match that I watched it. I enjoyed it to a certain extent, but I still think this feud itself, it's not about AJ and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's more about Daniel Bryan, the animosity or whatever the fuck issues that Daniel Bryan have with Shane McMahon and that whole thing. I mean, I feel like AJ Styles, it's about Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan and Shane O'Mac. That's what that's all about, right? So how can I invest in a match that is not even about the match itself, right? AJ wins. Everyone saw it a mile away, but yeah, it wasn't what people thought it was going to be. It ended up being more or less AJ Styles just getting the upper hand over both, rather than all of a sudden. Because at first, I think what I thought was going to happen at first, it was going to be a handicap match where the two of them are just beating on AJ, and then they'll be fighting to see who gets the pin. But it ended up being a tag team handicap match. So we didn't. So what I thought was going to go down didn't go down, but AJ was still able to get the upper hand. Then you had the Usos defeating Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in basically in a 2 out of 3 falls match. That was just 2 falls, just fucking 2 falls. The tandem of Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, it's growing on me. I mean, those guys are fucking phenomenal tag. The fact that you got Shelton Benjamin, I think he's my age. I think he's like 40 years old, out there looking like $1,000,000. And Chad Gable out there, who's just basically a wrestling machine. I think the fact that they're heels, I mean, their dynamic work as heels, but they would make better baby faces. And let's just say, I think they have the potential to really outshine American Alpha. Actually, if you just gave them a baby face push somehow, I think they could outshine. Like, people be like, Alpha who? The American who? Because you just can't find a talent like Shelton Benjamin under a rock. Those types of talents don't just fall from the heavens, especially at his age and his ability. And the same with Shelton Benjamin. I mean, same with Chad Gable. The guy's a blessing from the fucking wrestling heavens. All right? So their dynamic as a heel, I mean, I guess it has to work for now, but they really have the potential to be something big. But, they're just going to give Shelton Benjamin, they're going to give Chad Gable a solo push at some point. So, you don't invest too much into these tag teams, these makeshift tag teams at least, because they're going to break them up at some point. But I was highly disappointed that we didn't get a best of 3, like a third fall. I guess they had to sort of buy time, and then they had to take it home. Who's to say what happened in that match? It was an enjoyable match, but it sucks that they had to cut it down to basically 2. And what does it say about Gable and Benjamin? What does it say? I guess the aftermath is that they're pretty vicious right now, and I think it's something, but it's hard for me to take them serious now as a tag team, being that they just got sunned, 2 falls in a best out of 3, right? So then you had the men's Royal Rumble. I'm not gonna go into you've already heard the things. I'm just probably gonna mention the people who showed up, not on the main roster, and special appearances and whatnot. So I heard the day of the Rumble that the women were going to headline, and I was like, that's bullshit. That's no way that can happen. But sure enough, it did. They put them third on the card, and all I was thinking by the time halfway through is like, oh man, am I going to be exhausted by the time we get to the rest of the card and then the women's Royal Rumble? That was one of the only things that I had a problem with, that I was concerned about, that possibly that this men's Royal Rumble was going to wear me out as well as everyone else, and it did. But I like to think that the men's Universal Championship kind of woke me up a little bit. And people will say what they want. You can say what you want about that match. It wasn't a pisser. You know, it wasn't a bathroom break. It was a big heavy bout, and it woke me back up. But I'll get to that in a second. So we have Shinsuke Nakamura winning the match, and I had predicted the Big Show, and the Big Show wasn't even in the motherfucker. And honestly, once you think about it, it's probably one of the first Rumbles in a very long time that didn't feature Kane and Big Show in there somehow. Just at the very end, if not the last 4, the last 6. Like, normally you get those 2 big motherfuckers in there just cleaning house. So all the big guys weren't in it. We didn't have Big Show, we didn't have Kane, we didn't have Braun Strowman, and obviously we didn't have Brock Lesnar. So that's probably one of the first times that any and all those guys weren't in it, which was kind of weird to me. And I was waiting for Big Show to come out 30th, right? But that didn't happen. So whatever, it was wishful thinking. Not necessarily wishful thinking. It was just kind of smart, pseudo-smart booking. Smart as in like smart Mark booking, because he's been off TV for so long, and I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, everyone else gets talked about, and then I'm going to slide in with my dark horse. But that wasn't even the case. And I think I would have enjoyed a David and Goliath match between AJ and Big Show. I would have enjoyed it because both of them were professionals. I think it would have been a nice old school booked type of match. And also, I was also hoping that the Big Show would be done. You know, kind of like right up to the sunset with a big time main event match against one of the best in the world. After all of these years of being shitted on for his, you know, WrestleMania appearances or non-appearances whatsoever. I think the last match I even remember him doing was against Cody Rhodes, and he lost by his fat ass stepping on a table. Maybe there was matches after that, but that's the most memorable one because it was just such a stupid finish for WrestleMania, no doubt. Him stepping on a table and breaking. Oh God. Well, anyway, the people, well, yeah, and Shinsuke wins. He eliminates Roman Reigns, which is, I would have thought that he would have been eliminated by Cena or something earlier, but nevertheless. So let me see. Let me go to this. So the returns, not necessarily the returns, but the people that were in it that aren't on the main roster, you know, surprises or what have you. Andrade Cien Almas, the Hurricane Helms, which was kind of a letdown. I mean, my whole thing with Hurricane Helms is that, like, he got into a motorcycle accident, and I think he lost his foot. He has a half a foot. So I'm thinking, how the fuck were they able to clear this half a foot motherfucker to perform in the Rumble? I mean, he got thrown out early. He didn't last no time, honestly. But still, I guess it was refreshing to see him. But it was kind of a waste, you know. Adam Cole showed up from NXT, and Rey Mysterio looking like $1 million. Like, that was so fucking cool because I thought he was never coming back to the WWE. The way that whole last contract ended up going down, I thought that dude was done. You know, and I don't know who's mending the fences. I don't know whether it's Triple H or Vince. I don't know. But either way, you got Rey Mysterio show. I mean, he looked fantastic. Oh my God, he looked amazing. And about Cien Almas, I thought it was pretty awesome to have him as the NXT champion show up. And they did the same for the women's Rumble too. They had fucking Ember Moon show up, and I think that'd be something that he should should do moving forward. If you are the NXT champion, you should have an automatic slot in the Royal Rumble. If there's no one else, there's no need to have some crazy, no tournament, no nothing. If you have a fucking championship, if you are the NXT champion, man or woman now, you should have an automatic slot in the Royal Rumble. And Cien almost went in. He lasted like a really long time. He looked like he fit. He's ready on the NXT. And I said that shit on my review of TakeOver. The guy looks ready to go to the main roster. Him and Vega on like Raw would be awesome. And I think for the fact that he showed up and looked like he fit in was the litmus test that I think Vince probably needed. Now, I hope they don't try to do him up like a Del Rio again. Like, we don't need another Del Rio. We don't need another aristocrat. We don't need like some, Mexican aristocrat type crap. We need what we have in Almas as kind of, he's a guy who's just got his shit together, right? That can work. That's what's happening because, his storyline is that he was unfocused. Now he's focused. He got his shit together, and he's the champ. And he looks great. He looks the part. He's braggadocious, but he doesn't have that, that trope of an aristocrat. Okay, and plus his ballet. She can get into the match. She can take a bump. It's all good. So, and I think, and Adam Cole showing up at NXT. Now, I think a lot of people probably would have reserved that for Aleister Black because everyone believes that Aleister Black at this time, you talk about any and every talking head in, wrestling podcasts, in the wrestling podcast industry, everyone's saying that, Aleister Black is just ready to come to the main roster, ready to come to the main roster, ready to come to the main roster. The fact that he wasn't in this, and did he? Who won that? Oh yeah, I think, and yeah, he beat Cole. He beat Adam Cole, which is even odder. But I think Vince wanted to see him. I think it was one of those things where this is an undeserved spot. This is more or less a litmus test, or like, let me see him in the ring with these guys to see if he looks the part, which is awesome, once you think about it, because I don't think that's ever really been done. You've had contests for the over the top battle royal. You had for WrestleMania, but I don't think there's ever been this sort of NXT guy coming in to the Royal Rumble. So we got the first time, and they got two entrances. One was the champ, and the other was a guy who needed to be seen. And kudos to Adam Cole. But Aleister Black will be fine. I hope he got a good showing. Because I want to see Adam Cole succeed. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see. We'll see how long he stays down there, because I don't see Adam Cole becoming the champ. I think they already have some people lined up to take that belt. Meanwhile, I don't see Aleister Black as an NXT champion too. I see him just getting called up. So we'll see what happens in the distribution of the both of those. I see Aleister Black going to SmackDown, and I see Adam Cole going to Raw. And I don't want a part of 205, but they don't say his weight in NXT either. So we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, and what was it? Yeah, and Dolph fucking Ziggler shows up at 30. Oh man, you want to hear like? I was like, I felt like I should have cared, but I didn't. His storyline sucks. Like, he abandons the U.S. belt shows up number 30 like it's going to be this big fucking deal, and he gets thrown out like a sack of garbage, like in no time. In no fucking time. You know what I'm saying? So, either way, whatever. And that's the men's Royal Rumble. Did they make a good choice in getting Shinsuke? They did the most predictable one. I think everyone had Shinsuke winning. Again, I had the Big Show winning. I didn't think that Vince and or Triple H or Stephanie would say, hey, let's give the marks something. But they are. They're giving all the wrestling marks something. And regardless, I mean, you can look at the rest of the card and maybe that's why. Because I think they're already preparing for the fact that this WrestleMania, as much as it's kind of shaping up to look good, it'll never look good enough for us, right? So if you want to put you want to put some sweetener sweetener on the cake, even more so, give them this. Give them this. Now, my only concern is fucking, will they deliver? Will Shinsuke and AJ deliver? Because the expectations are set so high. I watched the last match they had in New Japan, like just recently, like 2 days ago, and I was like, this was a fucking good match. It was a decent match. It was a great match. And everyone's thinking that they should take it to the next level at this WrestleMania. It's going to be the super, purest wrestling match of the two best in the world. The only difference is one hasn't been pushed that well in Shinsuke Nakamura. He's really been dogged out. He got jobbed out to fucking Jinder Mahal twice. That's twice, people. And he's lost to some folks who've been made to look like an idiot, right? He's not someone to be taken seriously. Now, hopefully between now or last week and WrestleMania, they can change his character to where he's not like someone who looks like he has cerebral palsy, right? Or someone who comes off as kind of a ditz, Like, make him look serious. Give us something to expect. And then let them tell the story in the ring. And also give us the background of Shinsuke. Because, again, no one knows this motherfucker. Nobody. If we're talking about 100% of the WWE universe, I will say about less than 10% really know the background of Shinsuke Nakamura. And, cut the fuck the bullshit. We're all just discovering him, and 9% of that 10%, 99.9% of that fucking percentage are people who discovered him at Wrestle Kingdom 9. You know what I'm saying? They discovered him at Wrestle Kingdom 9. Like, they jumped on the bandwagon because all the fucking wrestling, elites, your Dave Meltzers and your fucking so on and so forth, your Wade Kellers and so on and so forth, were telling these guys that Shinsuke was the man, right? You do a little bit of YouTube research, right? You find that this motherfucker was the man. You look at Wrestle Kingdom, you gather some sense, and then all of a sudden you're an expert on fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think, again, that's 99.9% of the fan base, very much like myself. I couldn't tell you what the fuck Shinsuke was doing pre-Wrestle Kingdom 9, right? Until I saw that, and then doing some research afterwards. I couldn't tell you. And I dare anyone to prove me different. And if you say, oh yeah, I've known Shinsuke since he was like, a young lion. Like, fucking lion ass. Speaking of lion, you're lying. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Well, either way, we're just going to have to see. But I feel bad that all of a sudden now the expectations are so high on this goddamn match. Who's to say what happens in an elimination chamber, right? But let's just say that it's Shinsuke, AJ. The marks got something to chew on and, to pacify them as Roman Reigns wins the fucking Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? Like, get us there, man. Get us there, WWE. And I feel bad, but it's on the guys. It's on Shinsuke. It's on AJ to give that match. Next on the card, oh my God, what the hell happened after that? Cesaro and Sheamus defeat Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. They get the belts back. Yeah, I got nothing to say about this match. And it was a piss break of a match. And you know what? All right, I did say Brock Lesnar and Kane and Braun Strowman kind of woke me up. But yeah, I forgot that there was a buffer of a tag team championship. They could have done without it, but they had to put that pisser match in there, and they just happened to be, that happened to be the thing. And I have nothing to say. Sheamus and Cesaro wins another championship reign, and we'll see from there. Brock Lesnar versus Kane versus Braun Strowman, a very predictable ending. But it was just basically these big motherfuckers just throwing each other left and right. Braun Strowman, other than that fucking stiff knee that he gave to Brock Lesnar, who staggers him. And it's like, I don't know what to think about it. I think Brock Lesnar needs to fucking chill the fuck out. Braun Strowman didn't mean to send that fucking stiff knee, right? But it was still entertaining to watch a real live, like, shoot knockout. On a highly publicized WWE event. Like, that was straight shoot. He wobbled his knees, man. He fucking shook that dude's clock like you couldn't believe. I called him a jerk. I was like, you fucking jerk. Because as soon as I saw the knee, I was like, oh, fuck. Right? And then Brock just fucking creams him. I was like, you fucking jerk. You goddamn jerk. And who else was a jerk? Roman Reigns for eliminating Seth Rollins. Probably the most emotion you got out of the entire Royal Rumble for me was watching him do that. And I was like, fuck you, you jerk. You're such a jerk. I think I called him a jerk like 20 times. But yeah, Braun Strowman did get his work in on Brock Lesnar, beating the living shit out of him. And it ended up being Kane getting pinned by Braun Strowman. Very predictable, and so on and so forth. I think even to the point where they're writing Kane off TV for quite some time, because even the day after the Royal Rumble, they shot a angle where Braun Strowman just kind of murders Kane. So they had some other shit happen later, like he woke up and they can't find him or whatever. He's someone walking around, Kane, someone walking fucking around. But they still made Braun look stronger than motherfucker, even in defeat. They had no other choice. It was an underhand fucking softball of what happened. But yeah, we get. Even at the end, you had Braun Strowman screaming at the top of his lungs, "You didn't pin me! You didn't beat me! You pinned Kane! You didn't beat me!" So on and so forth. So, who's to say? They're saying that Braun Strowman's going to, I guess, get close to winning the Elimination Chamber or something like that, and then draw his attention towards The Miz. That should be interesting. But we'll see. We'll see moving forward with Braun Strowman, because he's probably they shot their load with him a little too soon. There's always room for a big, scary badass, but there's Roman Reigns and there's Brock Lesnar, and even though he's being loved, there was another guy. Another big guy, the big guy, fucking, what the hell was his name? I can't even think of his name right now, but he was called the big guy, and he was a guy who was getting a monster push, and he fell in between the cracks of like people they were already pushing, and he was a victim of that. I can't even think of his fucking name. The meat hook clothesline. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I forgot his name. But never mind that, but either or. And then we get to the women's Royal Rumble where Asuka wins. So we get basically a Japanese Royal Rumble, right? And to go through who showed up, because we have a very small women's division, extremely small women's division, right? So to have a 30 women battle royal, there was no way possible that they were able to get, fill it up with 30 women, and maybe they change it to 20 next year, because it's not like they could keep bringing back these vets all the time. And that's what made this special. And I think everyone came in for their just desserts, being that they've been in the WWE. They're probably still doing like small indie dates, and they're like, yo, we want to be part of this. So the people who returned were, what we got? We got Lita, Jacqueline, Beth Phoenix, Trish Stratus. We also had Carrie Sane from NXT. She got the Adam Cole spot. And also Amber Moon. Again, that's a great idea to bring up the champions. They should have an automatic bid in the Royal Rumble. And then also they had Tori Wilson, Molly Holly, which was looking fantastic. I'm a fan of the short hair, all I'm saying. Michelle McCool, yeah, who ended up getting 5 eliminations. 5. They could have gave that to someone else, right? They could have gave it to Nia Jax or something, but they gave that shit to fucking Michelle McCool. Like, she's been like the biggest, baddest, meanest fucking women's division, diva, women's division, like, worker that the WWE has ever fucking seen. Like, granted, she's probably the tallest out of the group, but goddamn, what the fuck is Undertaking filling her ass up other than babies? Fucking Undertaker juice to fucking eliminate 5 fucking bitches? Whatever. You also had Vicky Guerrero and you had Kelly Kelly. The return of the Bella twins, who Brie makes it, she's the, it's her and Asuka at the very end, where Asuka doesn't even win convincingly. She kind of just outsmarts her by knocking her leg from under her and winning the Royal Rumble. Watching I think the best part of this women's Royal Rumble than anything was seeing the legends. Like, I feel bad for the regular women's roster because of it. They had to basically not only take a back seat to like the return of Trish Stratus, the return of Lita, and all of that. And there was also like a really cool spot where you had what the hell is her name? You had a standoff between, let me see. You had a standoff. What the hell? Why am I drawing a blank? I feel like an idiot. I apologize, people. Sorry, this makes for really Mickey James, right? I'm sorry. That made for good fucking listening. You had a standoff between Mickey James and Trish Stratus. That was cool. The way the crowd reacted, and it's something I feel like, Mickey James needed. Since she's returned to the main roster, it's been like for her, man. Like, no one's giving a flying fuck about this woman. But to see that moment, for her to get that nostalgia pop that she deserved, being it was against Trish Stratus, was something that was needed. I bet something she was been waiting for quite some time. But other than that, if I was to give, and very much like the men's Royal Rumble, right? If I was to give it a 1 to 10, I would give it a 7, right? I would give it a strong 7. And this women's Royal Rumble, I would probably give, I mean, for a first women's Royal Rumble, to see all the people return and have Asuka come back, I mean, to turn out as a winner, I give it a 9. Because I had extremely low expectations with this thing, right? Like, I'm thinking this is going to be like a shit show. But everyone handled themselves well. You know, Sasha Banks got a lot of slack, but other than, caught a lot of flack for how she performed in it. But other than that, man, everyone did their best. Everyone superseded mine. So I'll give it a 9. I'm not saying it was better than the dudes. There's been enough dudes Royal Rumbles for them to get it right. Right? But as a first women's Royal Rumble, I think they did absolutely phenomenal. And I thought it was even worthy to headline. Honestly, for what they gave us, the people were awake watching it. It was great. It really was great. But, which another thing, before I go to this part, the other thing that I felt that was kind of weird was the fact that they were asked, both Shinsuke, right, and Asuka, who are you gonna face in the in WrestleMania? Like, which champion will you choose? Which is stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you even consider asking that? That's just dumb. Leave the mystique. Let them tell the story down the line. Just, like the fact that we got to hear that Shinsuke wants to face fucking AJ at the Royal Rumble ruins everything, At least give us some time to hint at the fact that he wants a piece of Brock Lesnar, right? I just want a piece of him or something, and have some interaction. Have something where it's like he shows up, and then we find out, like, at least maybe the go-home show, that he really wants AJ. That he has unfinished business with AJ from fucking Wrestle Kingdom, right? Like, even though he won, it's just like, who cares if he won or not won? They still had something, right? But man, talk about a ruined moment. And the thing with Asuka, and then as soon as she's about to give her fucking lame, answer, Ronda Rousey shows up. We hear "Bad Reputation." I forgot who sings that. But anyway, it's the Bad Reputation song, and I'm just like, okay, I guess this is the cue for Ronda Rousey. And then, but at least I'm still kind of uncertain. And then those fuck-ups in production shot the goddamn Titron. And there it said, Ronda Rousey. By the way, sucks for anyone who has to pronounce that. Okay? Ronda Rousey, the name itself works for what it is. It's 2 R's. It's like double consonant, like Ronda Rousey. But now to have to say Rowdy Ronda Rousey, it's like row. Like, painful. Painful for anyone now to have to say her name repeatedly working for the WWE, the bots and shit, like the people who give the interviews or the people on commentary. Rowdy, they gotta call her Rowdy, like the monster among men and the big dog and the boss. She's Rowdy Ronda Rousey. And they're gonna fuck up left and right having to pronounce this shit. But anyway, she steps out in a big ass jacket, right? And it's actual, it was Piper's jacket that was given to her by the son of Piper. But I think it was on loan. People was like, it was given to her. Like, no, they're keeping that jacket. They just wanted her to wear it to debut. And also you had her kind of looking so awkward. You know, she's smiling, and I got nothing against her smiling. She's living her dream. It's a big, big moment, but it was how she was walking. It was like she didn't know how to walk. It was almost as if her knees were buckled, like she had to walk, like her knees were buckled or something. Maybe it was her trip. Maybe it was a trip from Colombia, and her legs were fucking like stiff as all as hell. But to watch her walk out there, looking like someone just starched her goddamn legs, was something to see. It felt so awkward. And then she gets into the ring, and you can tell that she's just trying to figure out how she's going to do the point, because I think, you know, that's what she has to do. She has to show up, point to the sign, and basically somehow interact with the girls that are already in the ring, right? But, like, the fact that she's living too much in the moment made it all just awkward. It made it all so awkward. Now, it's a holy shit moment, obviously. And plus, my thing is, when she was hot and ready, and that was WrestleMania like 3 years ago when she kind of hemmed up Stephanie McMahon, she was the hottest athlete in the world. And you had Dana, you had fucking Dana, what the fuck his name is, saying like, she going nowhere near a fucking WWE ring. Fuck you, fuck the WWE, fuck y'all, that's my girl. And as soon as she loses 2 matches, I think she lost like a judo match for the Olympics too. You know, Dana White was like, sorry, get the fuck out of here. That's the thing that fucking got to me, and no one's talking about it. How Dana White basically just said, you know, went day and night with the fact that Ronda Rousey is in the WWE. Like, he just said, you can have her. Went from like being overly guarded of her, and now you can just have her. She's damaged goods now. And I think he said something like WWE isn't going to know how to handle her. You know what? Shut the fuck up, Dana White. You have no say, no opinion in this. None at all. You threw her out like fucking garbage. Now she's getting all this coverage, and now we care about your opinion? I give a fuck about your opinion. Okay, Dana? All right? She's a loser to you. And everyone's talking about how, oh, yeah, she's a loser. And granted, she's not coming in with this thing where, you know, she kicked ass, took names, she had no one else to fight, so now it's time to go into the fucking WWE ring. It's like, well, she still has a lot of star power. She has a tremendous amount of star power. And I'm interested to see how she does in a ring, right? But that version of her living in the moment, that smiley, big jacket wearing, stiff leg, that's not what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to that at all. Okay, people? I'm not looking forward to that as much as I'm looking forward to watching the Patriots, you know, win the Super Bowl, okay? Apparently she has to go back to Colombia, finish up whatever movie she was working on, and then she's going back to the development center to work out. But we'll see what happens. And then also a lot of the backlash of her showing up and all the wrestlers tweeting, which is probably a work. And all of these goddamn, you know, all the females tweeting about, you know, they're not happy with the fact that she showed up to ruin the moment. You know, the Royal Rumble moment. I don't think it ruined the Royal Rumble moment, but I don't think it's a shared moment. And you have all of a sudden these people are like, well, you know what? You know, these women shouldn't be upset because Ronda Rousey just, you know, upped their stock. You know, she's big money. She will get the attention on the women's division. Do you really think that Ronda Rousey gives a flying fuck about the women's division? She probably gives a shit about wrestling, but she could give a flying fuck about that women's division. And I'm not saying this out of like she disrespects the women's division. She herself is a business person. Like any other athlete, she's a business-minded person. She comes first. When they offered her to do that spot, it wasn't like she sat back going, well, you know, I don't really want to overshadow what this Royal Rumble meant for the women already in the WWE. She gave a fuck about that. She could have said no, right? She could have said, no, I'll show up Monday, right? But she didn't. She didn't do that. She showed up and she did overshadow not only the Royal Rumble, but she overshadowed Asuka's moment as the first ever women's Royal Rumble winner. And apparently no one knows she was showing up except Nikki Bella, and I think they said Charlotte Flair knew, and that's it. So when she walks up to Asuka to shake her hand, that was a shoot moment, people. Like, that was as shoot as it gets. Because she's like, fuck you. And I get it. If it's a work that everyone's talking shit, great. But man, all these people who are talking that bullshit raising the women's stock, maybe it does, but it raises the stock of Ronda fucking Rousey when it raises the stock on, right? She could give a fuck about what she could do for that women's division. She's doing what she wants to do. She's living out a childhood fantasy. She's collecting a fucking big check. Oh yeah, I could have got paid more. But yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, getting paid what, $5,000 compared to $5 million compared to $8 million? You're still getting paid fucking $5 million. Not saying that she's getting paid that much, but like, it's not like she's taking some pay cut that's in the fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars. She's still getting paid millions to be on that roster. And one other thing, you gotta allow these fucking women to get pissed off. You gotta allow these women to have a little bit of heat. You gotta let Ronda Rousey get some fucking heat. There's no difference. The fact that she's already a star, right, doesn't give her the fucking right away to be one devoid of getting heat. Since when did any newbie was fucking immune to catching heat? And since when can we control the emotions of these fucking wrestlers, let alone these women wrestlers? Let them be upset. Let them have a little fucking moment of being a little pissy that someone's taking some time from them, right? That these people work all their life to get to a certain point, and now this person just kind of waltzes in and points. By the way, that point at the fucking WrestleMania sign also looks so fucking awkward, like her just trying to position her body. But nevertheless, she shows up basically overnight, day of, and she points at the WrestleMania sign. If I'm Nia Jax, if I'm Sasha Banks, if I'm Asuka, if I'm Alicia Fox, I'm pissed. Shoot or work, I don't give a fuck. I am so pissed. So we'll see how this shit plays out. Apparently, she's not going to face any other people. She pointed out, I was like, there's no way she's going to fight anybody. She's not going to wrestle anybody. She's not ready. But she will be at WrestleMania, and that was the whole point, that she was going to be there. That I'm now in the division, right? They'll sort out who Asuka faces, later on, but it will take a backseat to Ronda Rousey. And apparently, they're going to try to get her and The Rock and Triple H and Stephanie. And this was something they were shooting for 3 years ago. And now that Dana White has kicked fucking Ronda Rousey out like cheap fucking trash, they finally could get their hands on her and do something that was already 3 years in the making. You know what I'm saying? And, kudos for the WWE, hook or crook, for making that happen. But please, oh please, don't have her in that ring with anybody else until she's done with WrestleMania. And I would even say, wait for her first match. Wait, after that tag team, that mix match with The Rock, hold out until SummerSlam to give her her first match. Because they're going to need it. They're going to need that power. They're going to need somebody, because I don't think Brock Lesnar will be back. I don't think he's going to be back for SummerSlam. If Roman Reigns is winning that championship, unless they do something crazy, I just don't see Brock Lesnar. I actually see Brock Lesnar by SummerSlam back in a UFC ring somehow, back in a MMA ring. Then I see him back in the WWE. So, and I don't think I have any last words. That's it, guys. Again, thanks for your patience. Thanks for your patience for waiting for this. Again, I hope you enjoyed whatever my thoughts, whatever my commentary was. Hopefully next week there's going to be some wrestling news, and I'll be talking about it one way or another. Until then, watch out for those foreign objects.